There are billions of people in the world, and most faces share a similar look. However, there are some individuals whose faces set them completely apart from the crowd. Some are born with extremely rare medical conditions, while others possess an identity so unique that the entire world is drawn to them. In today's story, we will meet a few such people, individuals whose faces are not merely distinct, but whose hidden stories are even more extraordinary. These are stories of pain, of courage, and of the strength found in self-acceptance. If this is your first time encountering stories of this nature, stay tuned, for what you are about to discover may very well transform your perspective, starting with Hunter Steinitz. Everyone's life is unique, yet some stories possess a power that compels us to pause and reflect. Born in 1994, Hunter Steinitz lives with an extremely rare condition known as harlequin ichthyosis, a disorder in which the skin grows many times faster than normal, hardening into thick, scaly layers. Her skin remains perpetually red, dry, and cracked, making every single day a struggle. Her mornings begin with a prolonged soak in water to help soften her skin. This is followed by hours of applying oils and creams to alleviate the pain. During her childhood, she endured the ignorance and taunts of others, yet she refused to give up. Rather than hiding away, she chose to educate people. She shared her story openly with the world and began advocating for awareness. Today, she stands before the public with unwavering confidence, demonstrating that true beauty and courage stem not from outward appearance, but from within. Next is Maria Jose Cristerna. Imagine a person who, instead of concealing their pain, transforms it into their very identity. Born in 1976 in Guadalajara, Mexico, Maria Jose Cristerna Mendez, known to the world as the Vampire Woman or the Jaguar Woman, grew up in a devout Catholic family. However, at the age of just 14, she got her first tattoo, and this marked the beginning of her distinct identity. Later on, she earned a degree in criminal law, yet her true identity was forged through her extreme body modifications, tattoos covering approximately 96% of her body, horn-like implants on her forehead, fangs, a split tongue, eye tattoos, and numerous piercings. All of this was not merely for show. Rather, it was a testament to her story of pain. After enduring domestic violence during her first marriage, she began the process of transforming herself, doing so with newfound strength. Today, she runs a tattoo studio, manages a fashion brand, practices law, and raises her voice against abuse. For her, this is not merely body art, but the written story of her life. Next is the mystery case. Recently, a photograph of two women has been going viral across the internet. Their facial appearances are so distinct that people are left astonished upon seeing them. Some believe that their facial structure may be linked to a rare medical condition known as Cruchon syndrome, a disorder in which the skull develops abnormally, causing the eyes to appear bulging. However, many people also suggest that this image may not be authentic, but rather the result of digital editing or AI generation. No one knows for certain what the truth really is. It is precisely this mystery that makes the photograph all the more intriguing. Sometimes what we see is reality. At other times, it is merely an illusion. The question now is, what do you think? Is this truly a genuine medical condition or simply a fabricated illusion? Next up is Richard Norris. Imagine if a split-second error were to strip away your entire identity, leaving you to stare into a mirror at a face that no longer feels like your own. This is exactly what happened to Richard Norris in 1997 while he was in his 20s. An accident obliterated a significant portion of his face, taking his nose, lips, jaw, and even part of his tongue. His life was irrevocably altered. He withdrew from society, covered every mirror in his home, refused to venture outdoors without wearing a mask, and gradually spiraled into a deep depression. Years of surgeries followed, yet none succeeded in restoring his face. Then, in 2012, an unbelievable medical miracle occurred. Following a grueling 36-hour surgery, he received a brand new face. However, that marked the beginning of his true struggle, learning to speak and eat all over again while living in constant fear that his body might reject this new face. Even today, he continues to live, to fight, and to strive to rediscover himself. Next is Lakshmi, a young girl from India whose story began in fear, yet gradually transformed into one of faith. Lakshmi was born with a unique facial anomaly, a fleshy growth on her nose that bore a striking resemblance to an elephant's trunk. Consequently, the villagers initially regarded her with fear, casting strange and wary glances in her direction. However, at just 8 months old, she underwent surgery to remove the excess tissue. The operation transformed her life, though in its aftermath, her face took on an appearance suggesting she possessed 2 noses. As time passed, people's mindsets began to shift. Gradually, the very people who once feared her began to revere her as an incarnation of Lord Ganesh. She started receiving respect during festivals, and people began to view her as a source of blessings, Lakshmi, as she was now affectionately called. She had forged an identity for herself, one defined not by fear, but by faith and acceptance. Challenges still persist today. However, her story teaches us that a mere shift in perspective can transform one's entire world. Next up is Johnny Quinn. Sometimes life changes everything in a single instant, leaving a person with no choice but to rebuild themselves from that very point. Something similar happened to Johnny Quinn, a resident of Millington, Tennessee, when he was just 4 years old. A small fire that started in the backyard of his home escalated within minutes into a horrific tragedy, leaving nearly 95% of his body severely burned. His sister, displaying immense courage, saved his life. However, his condition was so critical that doctors kept him in a coma for months, and the chances of his survival were slim. Years of surgeries followed, yet none succeeded in restoring his face. Then, in 2012, an unbelievable medical miracle occurred. Following a grueling 36-hour surgery, he received a brand new face. However, that marked the beginning of his true struggle, learning to speak and eat all over again, while living in constant fear that his body might reject this new face. Even today, he continues to live, to fight, and to strive to rediscover himself. Next is Ramesh, an 11-year-old boy living in the village of Balang, Nepal, whom people have come to call the Stone Boy. Ramesh Darji's story is truly heart-wrenching. Just days after his birth, his skin began to undergo a bizarre transformation. It would peel away only to harden into thick, rigid layers. Gradually, these layers spread across his entire body, causing his skin to become as hard as stone. Doctors identified his condition as a severe medical disorder in which the skin becomes thick, dry, and scaly. Due to this condition, even the simple act of walking became agonizing for Ramesh, forcing him to remain confined indoors for most of the time. His family's financial situation was also precarious, making it extremely difficult to access the proper medical treatment he so desperately needed. However, gradually she began receiving help and support from people, and now she is undergoing treatment at a medical college in Kathmandu, where doctors are striving to improve her condition. The pain persists, yet the flame of hope remains alive within her. Next is Paul Carrison. Imagine looking into the mirror every day and watching your skin slowly turn blue, devoid of color or light, and permanently so. This is the story of Paul Carrison, whom the world came to know as the Blue Man. Initially, he looked like a completely ordinary person. However, around 1990, he began ingesting a homemade solution containing tiny silver particles. He believed this would improve his skin and overall health. Everything seemed normal at first, but gradually those particles began to accumulate within his body. Then, one day, the color of his skin began to change, shifting to a deep bluish-gray hue that would never revert to its original state. Doctors explained that he had developed a rare condition in which silver particles accumulate in the skin and react to light, causing a permanent alteration in pigmentation. This unique identity of his became a subject of discussion across the globe. He passed away in 2013 due to complications related to his heart and lungs, yet his story is remembered to this day as a cautionary tale. Next is Sarah Atwell. Raised in Nova Scotia, Canada, Sarah's life was far from easy right from her childhood. She was born with a rare condition in which tumors begin to form around the body's nerves. Consequently, a large tumor developed on the right side of her face, completely altering her appearance. At school, she faced taunts, ridicule, and mistreatment. However, instead of hiding herself away, she decided to step out into the world. As she grew older, she began sharing her story with the public. She shared her experiences and strove to convince people that looking different is not a weakness. Her story was so compelling that it inspired a documentary, which chronicled her life and her journey through various surgeries.